Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast. I am Jeffrey Kirby. As you can see, we got Caleb with us because
What's up, y'all?
it would be a damn crime if we did not have him on for opening day of the Pittsburgh Pirates of 2022.
I mean, opening day should be a national holiday. So, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have anything to do today because it would be a day off, and I would be on every opening day. So,
Listen, it would be a phenomenal. Listen, let's be honest. We understand that right now the Pirates game is not going as well as we would like. But we get baseball back. We got an extension that happened today, something historic. And in fact, real quick, before we continue on, I want to say, Bob Nutting, I know, we know we get on your ass. All of Pirates, all of Bucko Nation, whatever you want to, is it all right if I call it Bucko Nation?
yes.
Okay. We always like to get on your ass because, we think you're a cheap son of a bitch. And, I mean, it's true, though. I mean, the truth hurts. But you did get an extension done today. Bryan Hayes, yes, I know he got hurt. Seems like he's going to be good. That's all good and dandy. We got an extension, the biggest extension in the franchise's history. So I say we're going to go ahead and we're going to toast. I got me a little bit of a drink right here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to toast to the Pirates actually re-signing someone, because holy shit, this is a phenomenal day for us. Hey, cheers on. Let's go.
See, the annoying thing is, though, our franchise record extension is still, correct me if I'm wrong, still the lowest extension of any team.
I know the
in Major League
Guardians
Baseball.
at one point of time did, until they just had two big ones.
Yeah, y'all were. Weren't you guys below us? What was your biggest before the Ramirez stuff?
I think Edwin Encarnacion. Burgermeister says, "What's the score?" Do you have the score?
Right now we're down 0-4, bottom of the fifth.
Yep. So 4-0 Cardinals, bottom of the fifth. So there you go. There's your update. We're gonna keep you guys updated throughout the show because honestly, this might be a first. And I'm actually kind of excited for this. As we all know, I'm the big Steeler guy. And Caleb is the big Pirate/Penguins guy. And today he is definitely winning this show because I don't even know if we're going to get into anything Steelers today.
See, I love my Steelers. I love Steeler football. But like I was telling you before we started, if I had to trade in one of our big three teams in order to guarantee that another one got a championship, I would guarantee the Pirates every day getting a championship and the Steelers can go somewhere else.
Burgermeister says Pirates will lose 100 games this season.
I don't know. That's a tough one because with the roster, I don't know. I'm just trying to hold in my rant and go off, but what the heck?
Yeah, we got to.
Honestly,
Caleb has a rant for us, so I am very excited to hear this.
Okay, so the roster we have assembled right now is set up to lose about 100 games. Now, I don't think this will be the roster that we end with at the end of the year, especially with Contreras maybe being called up, Cruz, who's down in the minors working on his defense, which I don't even know what the heck that is.
Listen,
because
that's
we've already had a
that's
couple
some
errors.
of the biggest baby bag bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Let's be
Oh,
honest.
it's absolutely ridiculous. But if you think about it, we have kind of a log jam in the middle. We have Kevin Newman, a Gold Glove shortstop, who is playing at he's playing at shortstop right now. Obviously, his bat wasn't as good last year, but he's a Gold Glove shortstop. We have Foy Park, a guy we got from the Yankees. We have Michael Chavis, a guy we got from the Red Sox. We have several people in the middle that we have to try to either get. We have to get them playing time or we have to get them moved. None of those guys are the future right now.
No.
And even Cole Tucker, Cole Tucker had a really good spring training. He's bulked up this year. He's earned his spot on this team. But honestly, Newman and Cole Tucker are going to get traded this year. They're both going to play their way. Some team's going to want them. We're going to package them with the Chavis or package them with the Hoy Park and get them out of there and to clear up the infield, because we all know that the only person in the infield right now that's infield of the future is our recently extended third baseman. Now, there's a little bit of a question because we have just Diego Castillo too. He's played infielder we got from the Yankees last year. He's playing really well. He had a really good spring training, earned his debut on this team. And what kind of was a question with what happened with Shelton is he wasn't even playing today. So that's a little bit of a, well, I mean, he is now that Hayes got hurt. But like Castillo, we have Castillo and Hayes are really the only ones that like deserve a shot in this infield in the future. We got Testugo playing first or DH, but he's not really here long term. So honestly, O'Neal Cruz being like I hate that because I want to see winning baseball. I want to see the best players available to start the year. But I understand realizing like just take a step back this year, realize that this is our 2000, because we're rebuilding. Everybody knows this. Everyone says, oh, Pirates have been rebuilding for years. No, the Pirates didn't actually rebuild from 2016 to 2019. They kind of, I don't know what, they put some sorry baseball out there, but they did not rebuild. They finally have gone into a full rebuild. This is compared to the previous rebuild we had. This is our 2011 season. And yes, we're not gonna make the playoffs this year, but we're gonna be better than we were last year. We're gonna end this season better than what we start. The team that finishes this year will blow out the team that starts this year. We got to move some of these people. We got to see, are they going to play? Are they going to not? I mean, shoot, Mark Cano is a guy that Sherrington absolutely loved, slightly overspent to go get him. And he's sitting down in Altoona right now because Cruz has him bumped down. That's another guy we got to see this year. So this is a year to see. This is kind of like the last stand for a lot of these guys. And we're going to move, like we could potentially move on from them. But honestly, having Cruz not start isn't the worst thing in the world. Now, granted, if there was no extension today, I'd have been pissed. I'd have been like, come on, you just bring up Cruz already. But now that we got an extension, which, I mean, it puts the Pirates rebuild window out there. It's like makes a statement that they're really willing to commit to some of these guys. It's going to help with extending Reynolds too, because the biggest thing with Reynolds saying no was that there was no commitment to anybody else. You know, the first domino falling was Hayes, and a lot of us kind of thought the first domino falling was going to be Hayes. So I expect Reynolds next, but nobody else in this infield is going to be in a playoff game for this team. Our infield of the future is we got Cruz and we got Peguero, just to name a few coming up. Like we have Nick Gonzalez. We have a lot of infielders coming up. We got to see what we have in these guys. Give them at bats. Give them appearances. Let's see what we got, and let's move on from some of these guys at the deadline. Honestly, the whole Cruz thing really pissed me off, but with the extension today, with Hayes, I'm kind of just okay with it. You know, this Pirates team they're bad, but they're not as bad as they were in 2020. They're not as bad as they were in 2021. And everybody says, oh, well, we have players like Adam Frazier, Joe Musgrove, people like that on the roster. Yeah, but those guys weren't part of the future. We moved on to get prospects. We still had like we've already hit rock bottom with this rebuild. And that's what a lot of Pirates fans don't understand. They're just, oh, Bob Nunning will never spend money. Oh, he got Hayes, but Hayes is hurt. Well, like Pirates fans will never, like, I get it. He hasn't, like they didn't get it done in 13 through 15, but they made the playoff, like they made efforts. The Pirates will be back in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They will be back in the playoffs during this Hayes extension. And it's really frustrating me that people are like, oh, this team's going to lose 100 games. Maybe not. But this year isn't about wins and losses. None of that is important. This is the final like straw, the final test for people like Cole Tucker, people like Hoy Park, people like Michael Chavis, people like, I don't know, some of these pitchers we got, like there's a lot of guys on our roster right now that this is their chance. Are we going to be able to move on from them? Or are we going to just not bring them in the next year? But we have enough people. Might as well try them out and move on from them, or bring up your guys later. If we can get an extra year of service time, like it, I don't know. It's frustrating, but the extension kind of makes it a little bit, I don't know. I know I'm ranting, saying the same thing. I'm ranting just like any other Pirates fan, but this year's about development. I mean, look at Altoona, look at Greensboro. That's our team of the future. Like, quit complaining about the guys that are up here right now. Like, we'll be just fine as long as we can get an extension for Reynolds done. We'll see what happens with Yajure. We'll see what happens with Wilson. We'll see what happens with Mitch Keller. Like, we'll see. I don't know. But this year's about development. Like, we're not going to lose 100 games. We're not going to make the playoffs. This year's about development. All three of those things can be true.
So here's my thought process on this, and I'm gonna bring this from another perspective. And real quick, Joey, what's up? And Joey says happy opening day, and Burgermeister also said happy opening day. I just didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt Caleb in his rant, so that's why I didn't. But yeah, happy opening day to you guys. Here's kind of the interesting perspective, and I'm gonna bring this from an outsider's perspective in terms of another the franchise that I grew up liking, which was obviously the Indians/Guardians. And there's a reason why I'm going to bring this up when we talk about extensions and all that, because similar to with what the Pirates and the way that Pirates fans just reacted to the news of Bryan Hayes' extension, it was the same kind of thing with the Guardians when we re-signed Jose Ramirez. Now, yes, Jose Ramirez is one of the top players in baseball. I understand that. But we also know the history of not re-signing guys and just letting them go because of the market, or we can't afford them and blah blah blah, which that could be a whole different rant in itself, but we're not here to do that. I think part of the issue is now with what happened with the CBA, you're saying, listen, these teams need to spend. The players are sitting here like, listen, we need to spend some money. You need to prove that you're at least trying to put a quality product out there. And it was nice to find and the kind of contract that Bryan Hayes got, 8 years, $70 million, which only turns out to be like $8.25 million per year, which is super team friendly.
I mean, look at that too. You extended him. It's gonna put fans in the stands. It's gonna keep people nice, but it's less than the Polanco deal. Like, if he turns out to be just kind of an average player, like, that's not even that bad for an $8 million average third baseman.
And here's what's nice about this, too, because he's 25 years old right now. You have him extended until he's 32, and there's a club option there for a 9th year. So you have, if you want, you can have him extended till he's, 33, 34 years old. And that right there is the perfect time of, like, you didn't need a 13-year or a 10-year. This was for his age that he's at right now, this was the perfect time contract that you could have. And again, for the money, like you said, if he's average, okay, let's not look at what happened with Albert Pujols, who was in LA when he got that monstrous contract. And he was not the Albert Pujols that we all saw and most loved in St. Louis. And you saw how big of a burden that was in LA. Same with Miguel Cabrera for a part of the time of the contract in Detroit. This contract is like, okay, if he's not that good, you're not burning all that much. And Burgermeister says Nutting is making a killing in PNC Park concessions, which I did see saw they did some renovations and added some school stuff.
The best park in baseball just got a whole lot better. That Riverwalk is awesome.
I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, you will see some vlogs this year of me and Caleb at PNC Park.
Oh, absolutely.
It is happening.
Absolutely.
We were talking about this today. We're going, as soon as we get time stuff going, we're going to have time scheduled. We're going to be going to games. We're going to be in the 412. It's going to be great. And make sure to definitely tune in for that. We'll have vlogs coming throughout the time. But, so I was looking, as you were on your rant too, as I was listening. And right now, it seems like, yeah, that extension is the lowest extension in MLB history in terms of franchise, which is still insane.
So,
but
we did,
at least something happened.
And I mean, Sherrington's gone on record and said that she lost train of thought. No, he's gone on record and said that, like, if he saves money these years with low payroll, he'll be able to reallocate that money to be able to put a little bit extra, because we're a small market team. Everybody knows this. There's only so much that, yes, the owners are millionaires, but they're not going to take a loss on these baseball teams for a product.
And here's the thing,
average.
too, and I got to comment on that because, but continue on.
So, like, there is only so much that these teams can spend. Say it is $80 million. Say it is $90 million. Okay. But all of these years, like, Charrington's come out on the record and said, and if I don't know why he would say it on the record, if his boss, the guy directly above him, Snyder, and then the guy above him and Nutting aren't okay with this. Like, it doesn't make sense that it would come out. He said that if he saves like he's hoping to save the money now so that way he can reallocate it later. These years that we didn't spend much, say we spent 30 million rolling into the season, that's saving $40 million. That's 40 million we could use to go over budget in a different year and kind of balances out. And if that's the case, I'm just fine with a deal like this. You're telling Reynolds that you're spending money, you're trying to put a winning product on the field. You're telling the fans that there will be someone here for the next 8 or 9 years. Obviously, he's probably not going to finish the contract with the team. He's probably going to get traded with the last year and a half, but it'd be stupid to let him walk anyway. That's how sports works. Get over it. So if he's here for the next 6-7 years, that's a solid person that we can expect to see every night at PNC Park, standing at third base. Like that, it's going to sell jerseys. It's going to put fans some belief back in the team. This is the next McCutcheon, which, by the way, got less of an extension than this.
And also, real quick, so fun fact, the biggest free agent contract in Pirates history, you ready for this? Francisco Liriano, 3 years, $39 million in 2015.
And he was a reliever that they brought in to kind of like that veteran they went in when they were spending over budget. You're going to see some contracts just like this in 2024, 2025, 2026. So we need that one extra piece to kind of get us over the hump. It's going to happen.
So here's my thing. So here's my thought process. We're talking about owners, and this is a thought that I had earlier. And we talk about, owners spending money and all that. Now, yes, right now it's foolish to spend unnecessary money on bad contracts just to spend. That's something that we all need to agree on. That is, we want the owners to spend, but we don't want the owners to spend stupid for unnecessary contracts or overpay like absolute hell. But here's my thing too. Here's my issue. And this is something that Pirates fans have dealt with, and from what I've dealt with for most of my life as a Guardians fan, and now, adapting into the Pirates side of things as well. Looking at the ownership of things, and I hate how owners like to cry poor. That's one thing too that pisses me off beyond belief. Because here's one of two things. And if we were able, let's be honest, I have a better chance of getting a 6-pack than having Bob Nutting here on the show. But hell, if we were able to make it happen, that'd be the greatest thing ever. But if we were able to talk to Bob Nutting and say, okay, talk about the financial stuff. How much money are you making? If you're raking in the profits because you're not spending because you want to be cheap, just even though you feel like you could possibly go and put money into things, well then you need to sell the team because you're not really doing us any favors. But on the flip side, then if you're losing money or you're not making whatever, well then do me a favor. Sell the damn team and bring in someone else who is willing to do something better for the Pirates and for Pittsburgh sports. Because let's be honest, and I know with the way that the Steelers have been throughout history, with the 70s, and then we had a Super Bowl run, or we had a Super Bowl in the 90s, and then all of the last 18 years with Ben Roethlisberger, the Pittsburgh has been known for winning when it comes to the Steelers. The Penguins have had some good luck over the last, 15 years or so with 5 championships, with 5 Stanley Cups. So,
longest active playoff streak in hockey.
Yeah. So you have that, and Berger, I'm going to get to your comment here in a second.
Oh, I will get to that too.
Here's the thing, is Pittsburgh, the expectation is winning, and that is that. There is no, I've seen some stuff in Cleveland from where I'm at with the Cavaliers that I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, but it's the mindset. The mindset in Pittsburgh is winning, and that is literally that. And if you're choosing not to try to put a winning product on the field because you want to be a cheap ass, well then do me a favor and sell the team. But what you said, with Bob Nutting saying, okay, we're going to put a guy out there that fans are going to be able to know that Brian Hayes is the guy that he's going to be out there every day. Like you said, jerseys are going to sell. And it's a guy that's okay. Now it's a little promising. But then we got to get into the discussion of Bryan Reynolds, which we'll do that here in a second, but we'll get to Burgermeister's comment. He said there was no mandate to trade McCutcheon. The Pirates did not have to do it at all.
He also said Andrew McCutchen was unforgivable. Now, look, I was the biggest Kutch fan growing up. Okay, I remember him making his debut. I remember watching him. I was there a week and a half after he was initially called up, watching the series against Detroit, watching him steal second and then steal third, just thinking this guy is fast. Little did I know how much we would fall in love with this pirate-looking center fielder to help us go to the playoffs, right? We were not going to, say we kept McCutchen, say we let him walk because we didn't extend him because the window was kind of over. Say we let him walk at the end of 2019 and he signs in 2019 somewhere else. Or he signs in 2019 somewhere else. We weren't going to pay him. The window was going to be over. We were going to start selling off pieces anyway because the team was horrendous in 2019. I would argue one of the worst teams of them in a while because they just fell off and could not play, right? We weren't going to extend him. So you might as well trade the guy. That's literally how sports work. I'm the biggest McCutchen fan out there. It pains me to see him wearing a Brewers uniform, wearing number 24 for the Brewers. But you know what? One of these days, we'll bring him back and he'll retire as a Pirate. When we put winning baseball back on the field 2025, he could be a bench guy for us. That's beside the point. We weren't going to keep him. So it's sports. You trade away guys. Every team does this. The Rays do this. The Indians do this. The Brewers do this. Literally every team does this. Look, who did we get from McCutchen? Okay. No. Bryan Reynolds. We got some other guys in that piece, but if that McCutchen deal doesn't go down, we don't have Bryan Reynolds standing in center field right now. So who would you and look at since 2019, who would you have rather had? Like McCutchen or Reynolds since 2019? Now, Kutch was the name, he was the face, but he is older, he's more expensive, slightly inconsistent. Like Reynolds is a future. Reynolds will be playing center field at a higher level longer than Kutch will at this point. Not necessarily if their careers were lined up, but Reynolds is a lot younger. I get it. I loved McCutchen, and he was a face of a franchise. There was a lot of 22 jerseys. I loved rocking mine when I was a kid there. It was okay to move on from him then. He didn't have a great season with San Francisco. He didn't have a great season in 2018. He didn't finish it out well with the Yankees. He got San Francisco traded him halfway through that year. And then he signed the 4-year deal with the Phillies, was hurt a couple, I love McCutchen. I was the biggest McCutchen fan out there. But honestly, that move wasn't the worst thing in the world. We wouldn't have, and we got a couple of other guys too. Obviously, they're not here, but it's Reynolds. You can throw everybody else out just because we had some filled roster spots. It was basically Reynolds 1-for-1 for Kutch, and I would rather have Reynolds than Kutch.
So here's a question that I want to bring up too, and this was something that I vaguely touched on last week, but I really want to get into it now with you here and obviously with your knowledge of the Pirates because, let's be honest, I really don't have much, which is sad, but, here we are. So Bryan Reynolds is something we've talked about, fans wanting to extend Bryan Reynolds, and this was a discussion that has been brought up by Pirates fans, and it's something that needs to be discussed. Now, when you look at Bryan Reynolds, he's 27 now. He's going to be a free agent in 2026. So you have 4 more years of control over him in reality. And he's going to be 31 years old. Now, in my opinion, if you're looking at this, I thought of, at first I was like, yeah, of course extend it. But then you look more into that, what I just said. 4 more years of control. You have this year plus 3 more years. He's going to be 31 at the end. Is it really worth extending him? Or unless you're going to... Are you going to give him a similar kind of contract that you gave to Brian Hayes? Or what are you going to do? Or do you wait until maybe after, see how he's playing when he's 30, or, towards that last year of control and maybe see what happens? Or, there's always the possibility of trading him as well.
See, everybody wants this big extension. They want Reynolds to retire a Pirate. Everyone's like, oh, we got to get these guys to retire a Pirate. No, there's not going to be many people who retire a Pirate playing their full career being good with the Pirate. There's nobody going to be playing a 15-year career playing all their years as a Pirate. It's the days of that happening. They're long gone. In my mind, and a lot of people don't see this, but in my mind, a perfect extension for Reynolds is we have this year plus the 3 more years of control. We have till he's 31. Buy out his arbitration, give him 1-year extension. give them that one extra year. That will be when we have a lot of young guys coming up, and so that way we have this year and then 4 more years with him. That would give us 23, 24, 25, and 26. And 24, 25, and 26 are your playoff years there anyway. And then you by that point, a lot of these good outfield players in our system will be moving up, and you'll need to have those next guys to bolster the window anyway. Because why would you want to keep a 31, 32-year-old outfielder when there's younger guys coming in? Why would you want to keep a Kutch-like outfielder who you're prone to injuries? Your prime years are gone. Honestly, a 1-year extension, buying out arbitration so we don't have to deal with the mess that happened from before. Like, buy out his arbitration years and give him a 1-year extension. That's perfect. You can move on from him in 2025, where he has a year and a half of team control left, and get a huge haul. Like, we don't need to give him some massive extension now. The way that the Pirates have to work, we can't think we're a small market team because we're not operating like the New York Yankees and the San Francisco Giants of the world, or the Dodgers. No, we are a small market team who's going to operate a lot like the Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays, who've had success. We had success.
The Guardians, let's be honest. Look at them. I mean, yeah, we've had a couple years of, where we spent a little bit of money, which was surprising. And that's another thing, too, that I want to real quick discuss when we talk about teams and spending money like small markets. You look at the teams like the A's, the Rays, and the Guardians / Indians. Those teams really have not spent all that much money, but have been able to put a successful product out there. Now, that's not something that fans want to hear, because we want to hear spend, because it's easy to spend other people's money. But why, if you're going to be able to have a good product out there without having to break the bank, don't you look like the smarter organization than, say, the Yankees, who is always atop in the food chain and has not won a World Series since 2009? Something to think about as well.
I mean, too, honestly, like, if you take your fan loyalty off and you were told your sports team, take any league, your sports team wouldn't have many superstars that they kept for a long time, and they would keep moving on from them in the prime of their career to trade to get younger players. But out of that, you wouldn't have like the loyalty to these players, these play their entire career. But out of that, your team would be competitive, and your team would continue to be competitive because they rebuilt the farm system. I would take that 10 times out of 10. If you could tell me my team would constantly be able to be refreshed with young guys and refreshed with the next wave, you're not paying them over a ton of money, and they can continue to compete. Like, if you could, I would easily be okay with the model that the Rays have going on. And we don't have to spend a ton of money to win games. And that's the frustrating thing, is we'll never be the Yankees. But honestly, if you're not the Yankees, you can't get stuck into crazy long contracts that you just want to get rid of because you're paying a 38-year-old DH $37 million and he's not doing anything for you, but you don't want to pay a AAA DH $38 million.
Angels.
Yeah.
Tigers.
So it isn't the worst thing in the world. And it bugs me when people are like, oh, why aren't we just extending him now? We're having him retire. Honestly, I don't care if he retires a Pirate. I want his prime, and then I want to trade him at his highest value so that way we can get those next 4 or 5 guys to then fill in the system to be next. Because honestly, 4 or 5 guys is going to relate to maybe 1 or 2 major leaguers. But if you get 1 or 2 major leaguers for a guy, you've replenished and you've gotten the next wave. And that's what Cherington does. That's Cherington's model, and it's going to work. People aren't buying in. This isn't Neil Huntington anymore. This is going to work. We're seeing the farm system and these guys come in. We're seeing these teams in Greensboro and Altoona and in Bradenton win championships. People aren't realizing the storm of young buckos that's coming up, and we're going to be just fine. We don't need to extend Bryan Reynolds for 10 years, $30 million a year, because it's not happening.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that at all. And I think if that was the case, well, then I sure as hell don't know. But, yeah, I kind of agree with what you said about that. There's no reason to – if you know that your farm system's going to be – like you said, they've been doing very well as of you know that the future is there's a thing of building for the future and knowing that the future is bright. Pirates fans, and we discussed this a little bit last year and in previous times, we know that 2022 is not going to be. You're not going to be the greatest team in the world. We all know that. You're gonna lose maybe 90, maybe even 100 games this year. It's a very well possibility. But if you know that, okay, 2023, now things are gonna get a little bit interesting, and then 2024, okay, now we're on to something. Now you can start bringing up those guys, and as you've seen, now there's a wave in Major League Baseball where teams are going to start bringing up their top guys on opening day because of because teams used to not do that before because of control stuff, but now you're starting to see that happening, and it's going to be real interesting to see if maybe next year or in 2024 some of those top prospects for the Pirates in the farm system do make that opening day roster, and then things could be a whole lot of fun.
Now, and part of that, them making the opening day roster is clearing out the Cole Tuckers, the Kevin Newmans, the Hoyt Parks, the Michael Chavises, the Tupacano, Marcano. Like, we got to get these guys out of here. We got to see if they can play, or we got to move on. And that's kind of what this year is. It's evaluating talent and moving on from them to have the spots to then bring these people up. Like, honestly, if Cruz came up, you'd have a lot of guys that are just, what are they doing here? Like, let these guys play, trade them or cut them, bring up Cruz halfway through the year. Next year, bring these guys. Like, this plan is working, and people are still ripping it apart. And it drives me nuts.
You know why? Because no one believes in patience.
No, people need to win now, or I'm moving on. That's honestly, that's why you see the NBA so popular. If it's win now, move on. Everybody jumps onto another bandwagon of another super team. That is not how it works in Major League Baseball. It is exactly the opposite. And honestly, 10 times out of 10, I'd rather follow baseball.
I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but I also know how big of a baseball fan you are. And there are some people that I know, a lot of diehard baseball fans that love baseball and would believe that. It's just, obviously, I'm just a football guy, but here we are.
I don't even know if it's necessarily like me being more of a baseball fan. It's just me, like, the thing I don't like about the NBA is just the lack of loyalty and the moving around. Like, I like a little bit more loyalty to a brand. And so that's why you'll see me. I'm wearing my Pirates jersey. I've been wearing my jersey all week long. There's not many Pirates fans out there. And where I live currently, and you know what? I'm one of them. I'm rocking my Pirates stuff. Like, I will forever. The Pirates cannot win another. Now, granted, I think the Pirates are going to compete during Hayes' contract, and I think there's a good shot. I mean, who knows if we'll make a World Series? But I think we're gonna compete in the playoffs, and who knows what's gonna happen? But we could have a losing record every season for the rest of my life. I will still be going to PNC Park. I will still be a Pirates fan. Because at the end of the day, I would be happier with myself being loyal to my team than jumping onto it.
And that's, what's funny, real quick, and I'm only bringing this part real quick. Burger says, I can see PNC Park from my apartment window. Let's be honest. That is pure. I'm purified jealous.
That's pretty cool. What part are you like down on the point, or are you up on the North Shore?
Yes, I wouldn't know, so you would know more about that. But yeah, like, for me, what's funny is, obviously, I swear to God, if I had $1 for every time I mentioned that I am from Cleveland, we would both be millionaires. But here we are. And I always get asked.
No. I would be a millionaire because I would charge you $1 every time I had to hear about it.
You wouldn't share? Sharing is caring.
I'd buy you some Pirates tickets someday. Maybe a jersey.
There we go. I'll take it. But I always get asked, oh, you going to hop on the Browns bandwagon now? You going to hop on the bandwagon now? Especially, I'm like, no. I don't care if we're 16-0, 17-0, or 0-17. Regardless or whatever the hell happens, I'm sticking with the Steelers. I've grown up as a Guardians fan. I'm adapting into the Pirates' ways, and I'm actually very excited about it because, again, I don't know. There's just something about the Pirates. Maybe it's just I have an attachment now to PNC Park, especially because I'm 1-0 in games at PNC Park.
Question. Nostalgia aside, what's a better ballpark?
Oh, nostalgia? PNC. Nostalgia.
No. Throw out nostalgia for you because you grew up going to Indians games.
No, I'm saying nostalgia out of this. It's PNC.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah. Well, here
it's
because
a beautiful ballpark.
here's my thing. This was one of the first times in my life I was excited to actually go and sit in the nosebleeds.
Mhm.
Berger says you guys should come up here and tailgate or come to for a game and tailgate. Oh, we're going to a Pirates game this summer. If you haven't yet, make sure to go and follow us on Twitter. You see both of our Twitters. Go and follow us, DM us or whatever, and we'll make it happen. How about that? Because we're gonna do a vlog about it. So go and follow both of us. But yeah, it was the first time in my life I was excited. I still miss Three Rivers. I never got to see Three Rivers.
See, I was just barely not alive when they blew up Three Rivers.
Yeah. But yeah, it was the first time in my life I was excited to go sit in the nosebleeds. That view was insane. Got to sit what is the what the hell is it? Left field. What the hell is it called? The swirly thingy?
The Rotunda?
The rotunda. I couldn't think of what the hell. It was cool sitting on that, and yeah, overall, that was a very fun experience. Going to walk on the Clemente Bridge, there's just something about it. There's just something about that, just walking and just going through that park where it's like, damn, this is kind of cool. And for me, I've been to the Reds, I've been to the Tigers, Indians/Guardians, and PNC. And so far, out of those four, PNC is my favorite.
It's just like the theming, the experience. It's down on the river, the view. Like, it is a beautiful ballpark. And even sitting up in those nosebleeds, they're not bad seat. Like, it is a beautiful ballpark. And it's not like a huge stadium feel. It feels like a minor league. It feels like a minor league ballpark where, like, you walk into a minor league ballpark, you're going to be right down on the players, and everything's all tight knit together.
I'll be going to a minor league ballpark on Tuesday.
Akron Rubber Ducks?
Yep. And then
who they playing?
Hell if I know. I'm just going. I don't say no to baseball games.
I was gonna say Altoona's coming up there within the next couple of weeks. You should probably check out and see.
Look that up real quick. Burgermeister says Manny's barbecue was good but expensive. And then he says, I went to New Yankee Stadium, but for a Metallica concert, the Legends Club was cool. See, I had a couple of my buddies that went to Yankee Stadium in 2019, and I was super jealous. And yeah, I heard it's a kind of stadium, but it's a stadium I still want to go to just because it's Yankees.
It's a big stadium, like for Yankees. Like it's the Yankees of the stadiums. It's big. It's decked out in Yankee stuff, but it's a big stadium. It's a little bit different than PNC Park, just because PNC Park is more like that classic smaller feel. I would much rather go to PNC Park. But then again, Yankee Stadium sounds awesome. It's one like I want to try every ballpark. And coming up here too, I might get tickets with some friends to go up and see Salt Lake soccer team play at Yankee Stadium. So it won't necessarily be a Yankees game because I don't care enough to go watch a Yankees game unless the Pirates are there. I mean, obviously I want to check it off, but I might be going up there in a few weeks anyway. But hey, nothing can beat PNC Park. And honestly, with the deal, we're a small market team, and we're gonna get opening days during the week. That's how this works.
So
this works for years.
So the game that I'm going to on Tuesday is the Phillies AA team.
So Wilkes-Barre?
The Red something.
Okay. Wilkes-Barre's the Yankees.
But yeah, see, I'm one of those people where I'll go like for the Reds game. It was a Reds Brewers game or something. Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, whatever. And obviously, now I have learned that if I'm a Pirates fan, I'm supposed to hate the Reds.
Yes, you're supposed to hate the Reds. We hate the Brewers too.
Which is funny.
We respect the Brewers. Yeah. We hate the Reds.
Well, now what was funny though about the game that we went to with the Reds, it was Marty Brennaman weekend because it was like one of the final weekends of the season, and this was also when he was getting ready to retire. So. That was also the last game that I went to before COVID hit, or the last baseball game I went to before COVID hit. But yeah, it was cool because we ended up. I have like a Johnny Bench bobblehead and all that, blah blah blah, like a pennant from like the '70s and all that. But there's a reason why. I'm not gonna get into a reason why, but But yeah, there's in the household that I am at, there's supposed to be an emotional attachment to the Reds. I'll explain that to you off air, Caleb. But
No, I've heard your stories before, and I guess I'll give you a pass. But you're a Pirates fan now.
oh, see,
Go
listen,
Buccos.
Pirates, Reds. But
Hey, so that actually fun fact, that 2019 year, I went to the final game of the season with the Reds and Pirates. So like the final day for baseball, regular season baseball before COVID.
yeah,
And that was like, because I remember everyone wasn't sure what was going to happen with Clint Hurdle, and they like he kind of just left. He kind of quit and resigned because they were going to fire him, but he resigned and just left. And so I remember when they announced, they're like, we found out about it in the stadium because he left. He came in, he set the lineup cards and stuff. He said goodbye to his players, and he left before the game. He resigned. And when they announced the base coach was managing, and they threw it, they didn't even have a picture up there. They just announced not Clint Hurdle. The stadium just erupted in cheers. It was hilarious.
Berger says Altoona is 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. Come see a Curve game.
Dude, the Curve games are so much fun. I love going out to Altoona Curve games whenever I can. Got the roller coaster in the outfield, so you can go get some thrills in before the game.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, this is the year to go see Altoona, man. Altoona is stacked. They're going to win AA Northeast Championship.
He says, I miss Clint. He came every day into my local Starbucks. Nice guy, talked with everyone.
See, I loved Clint Hurdle. Clint Hurdle I met him several times. Really, really nice dude, like what you said. Thing is, he just couldn't get it done, and he kind of had to be the fall man because with the way that everybody needed to go. And it was kind of nice. We lost our president, Coonley. We lost Huntington and Hurdle. Like, just clean house, bring in a new regime because we need a culture change because it just wasn't working. I like Hurdle. I want to continue to see him do well, but I mean, honestly, all bias aside for my new regime, I think our one flaw is the manager who's throwing out a 270-pound leadoff man. And I kind of would rather have, like, of all the people we had to lose, I wish we could have Hurdle over Shelty today, but that's just my take.
And also, real quick, I'm going to try to give you an update here on the game. It looks like it is still 5-0.
No, it was 4-0. I meant to give an update a while back.
It's
but I
5-0
didn't really care.
now.
No, we announced 4-0. It's now
okay.
5-0. There was a RBI like sac fly single, and I just didn't care enough to say anything about it.
So yeah, 5-0. It's looking like a lost cause for this game for the Pirates. But we also have another team in Pittsburgh who has a very crucial game tonight.
Holy cow! Biggest game all season.
The Pittsburgh Penguins going up against the New York Rangers tonight. Game's going to be going on at about 17, 18 minutes. It's going to be on. It's like ESPN Hockey Night, so it is a huge game for the Penguins. And you know what? I'll just let you take this one away.
Look, the Penguins, they've been down as of late, but we've lost 2 in a row now. But we lost 2 in a row to the best team in hockey. They're going to be the best team. Avalanche are going to win they're going to win at any cost. And like that, it's fine. Throw those games out. We have to win this game against the Rangers tonight. We're all things kind of shaping up. We're going to finish ahead of the Capitals, most likely, if we kind of stay on the pace we are and they are. And we're going to be in that 3rd spot in the Metro or 2nd spot in the Metro, competing with the Rangers. This is the team we're going to see in the first round. We have to win. We have to win this game tonight. We can't fall too much more because I'd like to see home ice. Now granted,
real quick, this is the team that we lost to last year, right?
No, we lost to the Islanders.
Yeah. So I knew it was a New York team.
This is the pain in the butt team that we lost 2-3 years in a row in the playoffs before our run in 2016. Like, this was the team that we couldn't get by our 2 cup runs.
They were the Detroit Pistons to Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls.
Yes, they were the pain in the butt.
Great analogy.
And then they rebuilt, and now they're coming out of a rebuild. They're scary. They're scary good. But honestly, we're going to get Zucker back. Zucker's practicing. He's day-to-day. He's not going to play tonight, but I guarantee you he will play he will play either 2 games from now or 3 games from now. We'll kind of see. we have to win this game tonight. We can't fall too much further down in the standings. We can't fall to a wild card spot because it's a gauntlet going through the Atlantic Division, and we need to stay in the Metro here. We need this game. We need this game bad for momentum's sake. But honestly, I don't know. It's so hard to tell with this team because it looks like they've hit a wall. But then again, they're still exceeding expectations because they lead the NHL in man games lost to injury. So we're getting guys like Zucker back. We're getting guys like McGinn back. The lineup's starting to click with Raquel. But this is a huge game. We can't lose 3 in a row. We can't lose 4 out of 5, and we can't lose 3 in a row to the Rangers. So we have to win tonight. This is the biggest game all season because honestly, the schedule doesn't get any easier. Saturday we're hosting Washington. That's another big game, but we got to get through this one first. Sunday's Nashville, and then we have the Islanders, Boston, Detroit, Philadelphia, Edmonton, and Columbus. And honestly, those last 4 a little bit easier, but these next 6-7 games are an absolute gauntlet, and we need wins against. We need to win tonight against the Rangers. It's the biggest game all season.
And also with no Sidney Crosby either, because he's out due to an illness.
Really?
Sidney Crosby, John Moreno, and Radim Zahorna are out of the lineup with non-COVID illness. That is per the Penguins' Twitter account about 10 minutes ago.
Okay, well,
makes things a little bit harder, just a little bit.
You know, this day was great. It's opening day. We got Hayes extended. This day was great. I don't know. Well, let's see who we rolling with.
So now we're running with Gensel, Malkin, Rust. Letang.
Okay, so that line. I mean, look for a shakeup with Malkin. I mean, it's the best 2 wingers, best on our team, so maybe we'll get some scoring out of Malkin. That second line, we got Raquel, Carter, and Rodriguez. Maybe this will get Rich Rod, or not Rich Rod, E-Rod, combining sports today. This will get E-Rod maybe going a little bit with Carter. We got Raquel. And then honestly, from then on down, who even knows? I know that Hollander's had a really nice run in the AHL as of recent, so maybe getting him some minutes, but losing Crosby, Marino, and Zahorna is hard because Zahorna is our big man, and obviously Crosby is the greatest player in NHL history. So, biggest game all year just got tougher. But then again, this is what we play on. This is what we strive on. We've led the league by far. Like if you combine 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, I swear we're still beating them. And man games lost over the last 15 years. And yet we still are making the playoffs every year and doing just fine. So this is what we strive on. This is a big game. This is a playoff level game tonight. And I assume next man up mentality will be fine. Obviously, Crosby and Marino being out, we hope that it's not anything too serious and we can get them back for the weekend. But I don't know, man. If we lose tonight, at least we got Hayes extended.
Hey, there we go. There's always
That's my mindset. At least we got Hayes extended.
You know, I didn't think we were going to get into this topic, but we have a couple minutes. Do you got anything else you want to get into with the Penguins before? Because I got one other topic I want to discuss for 10 minutes.
Go ahead with your other topic. I don't know how many more rants I can go on tonight.
All right, so here's one I could probably contribute on a little bit more, only because I'm learning to the Pirates and the Penguins, so sometimes I don't have all that much to say. That's why we love Caleb here on the show. But now something I can't discuss, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers, that I can discuss all day long. But I won't do that completely. We have about 12 minutes left, actually. We're talking about extensions, right? You know, we were just talking about extensions for Brian Hayes, a possible for Bryan Reynolds. Well, there's another one as well that could be a possibility that might need to happen here soon or may not happen, which is Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson. Now with this, the reason why this is becoming interesting is you look at some of the contracts that have been going out with wide receivers over the last month or so. Holy hell. You look at what happened with Tyreek Hill. Look at what happened with Devontae Adams. Look at what just now happened with Stephon Diggs. Christian Kirk got a ridiculous contract for God knows apparent what reason. Oh, I forgot it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. But that's a different story for a different day. Now, This just brings up Deontay Johnson's value a whole lot more, especially if he has another good year this year like he did last year. Now you bring up the question of, do you extend him? If not, then what do you do after? Now, Caleb shaking his... Huh?
Game update, Cole Tucker just hit into a double play.
Damn.
No, I'm listening. I swear. Yeah.
Oh, that damn Cole Tucker. But, a name that I do recognize. But, in terms of Deontay Johnson, now you shake your head, now, what are your thoughts? Real quick, yes or no? Should the Steelers extend Deontay Johnson?
Absolutely not.
Oh boy, okay. The things gets a little interesting because now you say absolutely not. And that's very well a possibility. Because now you look at it in terms of talent that you've drafted, in terms of later rounds, in terms of the wide receiver position. I know Juju's not here anymore, but he was a second round pick. Deontay Johnson was a second or third round pick. You've gotten, hell, let's not forget about Antonio Brown in the 6th round. You've the Chase Claypool in the 2nd round. So you have a good track record of drafting receivers in the later rounds, which is a very well possibility. And if you look at that kind of contract for Deontay Johnson, where last year was his best year by far, but do you really believe that he's going to be worth that kind of money? Now things become a whole lot more interesting. Because now you look at it, Stephon Diggs just got 4 for 90. So now you're asking yourself, are we sure Deontay Johnson is worth over $20 million a year? Are you sure about that? Ugh. But then you also bring in the question of, you lost James Washington. We still have a whole bunch of question marks really on Chase Claypool. Juju's gone. So reality, who do you have that you could truly trust at the wide receiver position? But right now, I just think in this position, there's not a shot in hell you extend Deontay Johnson. Especially because right now his value would be high.
Especially with our ability to draft people and our need to spend on the defense for the next couple of years for a younger offense. I wouldn't mind if they drafted a receiver, 2 receivers this year, let Deontay Johnson play out his contract, and we don't really need to pay him. We like the guy, but it's no strangers. The Steelers can draft receivers. We'll be fine. I hate locking up, and I know the salary cap's going up a little bit over the next couple of years. They expect it's gonna make a ton of a jump, but until it does, I'm all for not paying players. I mean, maybe it's me being cheap. Maybe this is the reason I'm such a Pirates fan, is because I'm all for being cheap. But I'm all for not extending these players to big money. I'd rather get a lot of decent guys instead of locking up all your money into one really expensive guy.
So you didn't want the Steelers to re-sign TJ Watt? No, I'm just kidding.
No, defensive side of the ball, spend all out on the defensive side of the ball. I don't care throw whoever you want out there on the offensive side of the ball. I'd like to see the defense wreak havoc, and I'd like to see them win games like 10-7 this year.
You know what I'm about to do? Which, if you haven't yet, make sure to go and follow us at Renegade_Table. We're pretty close to 1,600 followers. Go and follow us there. I'm actually getting ready to pull up a poll right now on the Twitter account. Just straight up. Should the Steelers extend Deontay Johnson? Yes or no? So we're going to see what the hell happens with that over the next day or so. That poll is now posted. So we'll see what kind of votes or what kind of updates we get in the next couple minutes before we get on the hell out of here. But it's an interesting thing because now, again, for the 3rd week in a row, I didn't put it in the title of the video, but we're still on Honey Badger Watch. We're still on Honey Badger Watch. You're damn right we are. But then on top of that, now you look at some of the guys. So again, we're looking into the draft. We're only a couple weeks away. Which, do you know off the top of your head in 2 Thursdays from now if you're going to be available?
Let me check.
Because what I'm planning on thinking of, so the schedule, so it would be the 21st. And the reason why I'm saying that is, so we just did a mock draft about a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. But what I was thinking the day before, or the show before, the week before the NFL draft, mock draft 2.0. Because those are where it's going to be more updated. Because if y'all remember, we did a mock draft, and then about 20 minutes later, Devontae Adams gets traded to the damn Raiders. So there's that. But
then the Eagles can't make up their mind on what picks they want, and a whole mock draft is thrown out the window. So it kind of justifies me spending a whole 3 minutes putting it together.
And then there's me. It took me a couple hours, maybe a day.
Hey, you want to know something crazy? Hot take right now.
Hot take.
Hottest take of all of them. You know which football? You know what I'm more excited for than the Steelers draft?
Which is
the Maulers. Pittsburgh Maulers making their debut Sunday,
USFL.
April 17th. I'm ready to get emotionally attached to one of these dumpster fire spring leagues just for them to rip my heart apart and collapse before the season ends. I'm ready for this a third time. Let's go.
And then, what's funny is then we got the XFL back in 2023, so.
And that's the thing, is if it wasn't for COVID, the XFL was going to be just fine, and the XFL would still be going. So the XFL is going to be just fine. This USF, they're doing it right. They're playing all the games in one location because they've got a good TV deal with Fox. They're going to play in high school or college stadiums next year. So that will kind of they're going to be playing in a hometown next year, but they're all in one location. They're doing it right. Kids under 14 are free. You can you get a pass and you can watch all the games in one day. They're doing it right. They're setting themselves up for success, but we'll see what happens. I'm just excited to watch some more Pittsburgh football, although we're wearing purple and orange, and I don't know if the U.S. or the USFL knows anything about Steeler football, but we don't like purple or orange. But I don't know.
That's a interesting combination because all three teams in the AFC, all three other teams, either wear some sort of orange and or purple. Let's be honest.
And I get it though. The history of the Pittsburgh Maulers being purple and orange, it was pre when the Ratbirds existed, but it's still it's a little weird. But I'm more excited for the XFL next year, honestly. But hey, Pittsburgh Maulers, we got some Steeler football coming up on next Sunday, or Sunday the 17th, that is.
But
cancel your Easter plans. Watch the Maulers game.
See what happened. What? Now, I actually probably will. I'll probably end up having some food and watching some Maulers football because what's crazy is I'm actually one of the few people, when the AAF was going around, I did sit around and watch a lot of those games, especially because I knew two people that were in that league, that played in that league.
So who was the team you followed?
It was the Atlanta team.
The Atlanta Hotshots?
No, I forget what the hell.
Atlanta Legends. Atlanta Legends. They played in the old Turner Field.
Because the reason why is because I knew two people that were on that team, so that's why
Yeah, they were like Sacramento Kings colors. They played at the old Turner Field,
yeah,
which was Georgia State then. Yeah.
Yep. I knew two people on that team, so that's why I rooted for that team. 2020 for the XFL, I didn't have a team.
See, I went with Dallas for the XFL because I went with good old Landry Jones.
Hey, there you go, former Steeler legend. But obviously, as I've been saying before in all the videos, and if you haven't yet, make sure to go subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we always post videos or when we go live, just like here on the podcast, which, by the way, we are on episode Minkah Fitzpatrick. We're only 11 away from the big 50 already. Holy hell.
That doesn't feel real. It feels like just yesterday we were coming up with this dumb idea.
Listen, you know what's funny? Let's real quick, before we get the hell out of here, because we're getting close to that time, we'll do a quick reminiscing about how the hell Renegade Roundtable even started, for those that don't know. So me and Caleb...
Okay, so...
Go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I want you to go ahead.
No, go ahead, because my perspective comes next.
So, we met at graduation for college, which, congratulations on our success. But we were at college, and we were sitting, there's this big fountain over in the middle of our campus. And so we were getting some pictures taken, and Caleb and his mother were very nice, and we're like, hey, do you want us to take some pictures of me and my mother? Absolutely. That's great. Thank you. And then we got to talking for a second. And then I learned that Caleb was a Pittsburgh fan. And
Well, because your phone you gave me had a Steeler logo. So I was like, hey, nice logo. And as I'm taking your pictures, and then you were like, oh, it's a Steeler. I know. And I was like, no, I'm a Steeler fan too. I'm from that area. And then we got to talking. And I remember your mom saying, like, y'all should like your mom started talking to my mom. They were off to their own thing. But you and I, we talked for good like 15 minutes there. And then like a month later, we're doing a podcast. So.
Yeah, here we go. And let's be honest. You know what's funny is so it was in 2020. It was like right at the beginning of when everything was shutting down. I actually had a video in my phone from Snapchat when I was asking people, should I do a Pittsburgh Steelers Weekly podcast? And here we are now. And let's be honest, this is one of the greatest.
We're a Pirates podcast today.
Hey, today was it's a Pittsburgh podcast.
Yes.
Let me not say it's a Steelers. It is a Pittsburgh. Well, when I titled it then, it was a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, but now it is a Pittsburgh sports podcast. We talk everything here. But yeah, it was really fun about that. And I'll be honest, this is one of the best decisions I've ever made, and I'm honestly so glad that things happened to where you and me were in the same spot at the same time.
Yeah. Look at me being nice and asking to take people's pictures too.
Hey, look at what the hell happened then. You asking people if you want their picture taken. Who would have known that would have led to a podcast?
Not me.
But other than that, I think we're good here. Again,
yeah, I need to get off this podcast so I could go watch the last inning and a half of this dumpster fire.
And also the Penguins.
Well, this is first. We'll get to the Penguins next.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, if you haven't yet, make sure to like, comment, and also hit the red subscribe button. And go and follow us on Twitter at Renegade_table and follow both of our Twitters. I'm right here, and he is over there. Actually, over there. You see his.
I'm on there.
Yeah, somewhere.
I don't know. None of this makes sense.
It's somewhere. And yeah, again, more draft stuff's going to be coming. We're going to be broadcasting live for the NFL draft here on the channel. You know all that already. And until then, I'm Jeff. That's Caleb. You guys all have a wonderful day. Go Buccos and go Pens.
Let's go Pens, baby.